Coming up on this week's Salt and Sauce Chat Show.
I don't think anybody who races bikes is going to worry about crashing or getting hurt, because if you did, then you wouldn't be doing it, to be fair. So not really. It didn't really enter my head. I love doing the challenges. That was the best thing, because you got out of camp and you did something. And I knew I wouldn't be scared of anything. The only thing I was scared of was other people. If they wasn't very nice, then we'd have a problem. And it wasn't like that. But the bush tuckers and all them challenges, I love doing that. It wasn't too pleasant eating some of the stuff. I had with him, I says, well, I haven't got a license, and everyone found it hilarious, to be honest. And it wasn't, even Ducati didn't know I hadn't got a license. I said, look, we need to sort this out. I said, all right, I'll just sort it out. So I remember doing it in Blackburn. I was taking my test, and quite a few press turned up. I think hoping I was going to fail, to be honest, because that would have made quite a good story that the guy's leading the World Championship failed his bike test,
Welcome along to another episode of the Salt and Sauce Chat Show. I'm David Simmonds, and on this week's show, I am delighted to be joined by a motorbike legend that needs no introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Mr. Carl Fogarty on the show today. Thanks very much for coming on, mate.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure.
So, between the years of 1988 and 2000, you won 7 world titles. You broke multiple records. When did the journey all begin for you? When did you first get introduced to superbikes?
Superbikes. I guess obviously I started racing because my dad, was racing. So whatever you get brought up around, I think as a kid, chances are you're probably going to end up wanting to do that as a hobby, or in my case, profession. So that's where it all started. But into superbikes, I guess that would have come from the TTF1 days, really, when there was a championship called the TT Formula 1 World Championship, which I won a few times in the TT and that. And then from that came the World Superbike Series, which is a brand new series. And it really took off. It was huge, to be honest. And that's kind of where my path went, really. I don't know, it could have gone to Grand Prix. It went to Superbike. And as I said, the rest is history, I suppose. But it became such a unique and huge championship around, not just in this country, but around the world. It's, I think GPs realize that and had to do something about it, really, and did with the current format they have as MotoGP. That's the same sort of bikes, really, 4-stroke, sort of 1,000cc machines, really.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned obviously you inherited the passion for riding bikes from your dad. Do you remember the first time, what age you were when you first got on your first bike?
Yeah, I still got my first bike, funnily enough. I think it was my 10th birthday. I'm sure it was my 10th birthday, so it's quite late, really, compared to today's standards. Kids riding sort of bikes at 5 or 6 years old. So that was the first time. Yeah, it's just like I said, I've still got the bike. It's like a homemade sort of monkey bike kind of thing with a little Honda C50 engine in, which a lot of people, I guess, my age, even a bit younger and certainly a lot older, the careers would have started with that kind of bike, really. A Honda C50 engine, which is even today it's still around. It's a bulletproof engine. It needed to be with me as well.
Yeah, I mean, talk to us about some of the tracks you went around. Obviously, Brands Hatch is quite a famous one. I mean, what was your favourite one to fly around?
My favourite track in the world, most people know it, was one called Assen in Holland. It just seemed to suit my style as a rider, really. It really did. My strong points were my corner speed, through the corners, mid corners in particular, and that track was all about carrying as much corner speed as you could, really. And the corners are all slightly had a bit of a kind of bank to them, so that even helped me carry even more corner speed, really. And I won like 12 out of 14 races there. And it's funny, the only ones I remember is the two that I lost. I shouldn't. Mad, innit? I just lost them I shouldn't have lost them, to be honest, but I did. I had a couple of excuses, but I'm not even going to mention them now. Well, fly hit me on the a big fly. It was a big fly, this one. It just splattered everywhere. I couldn't see the apexes in the last lap or two in 97, trying to get past a rider called John Kaczynski, and I didn't do it, so I beat him in the second race. But yeah, it's funny how you remember the two that I lost instead of the 12 that I won, sort of thing, really. But and that was in the world, that would have been Assen, my favourite. Quite a few favourites, but that would have been top of the list. And in this country, as a rider, probably Donington Park was my favourite. That again suited my style of riding, really. It's like all about carrying corner speed from turn 1, which is called red gate, right until when you come on the back straight. I think it's called that Coppice, it's called. Mm. All that really is just a fast flowing section where you've got to carry a lot of corner speed. And I love Donington Park.
I mean, in preparation, I knew I was going to be speaking to you. I watched a few YouTube videos. There's one of you obviously flying around Isle of Man. I mean, what's that like to ride a bike around? Because just watching, I think you must have like a GoPro attached to the motorbike. I mean, I was petrified watching it, mate. What's it like being on a bike going at that speed, and especially around like a course like you say the Isle of Man?
Probably worst watching, to be honest. I must admit, I wouldn't want to watch myself going around there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know really. I guess when you're young, you have no fear. You really want to do it. I mean, I was brought up with the TT. Really, my father used to race the Isle of Man, and as a kid, that was like a holiday for us. You know, you got a week off school to go to the TT, or 2 weeks off school. It's great, you know. So being brought up with that, my dad always did pretty well though. He had a lot of bad luck there, had a lot of crashes there as well. So he's lucky to be here today. And he finished second there behind Joey, who was probably one of the most famous TT rider of all time, Joey Dunlop. So I wanted to do the TT, and really did. And you know, people ask you what it's like. I don't. Sorry to explain. It was just something I wanted to know. I wanted to win it so badly, and then move on to the World Championships on the short circuits. You know, so I was fortunate to do that, and it all came off for me. And but yeah, there's special memories for me those days. There really are. It probably wasn't at the time, but when you look back now and think, oh, I really miss it. It's a special place for me. And when I go back there over the years to watch the racing stuff, I hadn't been back for a lot of years. I went back for the Millennium in 2007, and it just hit me how much the place actually meant to all that childhood memories came sort of flooding back, you know. And I've gone back pretty much every year since then, you know. But actually racing it enough, it's easier in some ways. Obviously, the dangers are a lot more than any other circuit you race on, for obvious reasons. But it was, in some ways, a bit more relaxing than a short circuit race, where World Championship short circuit race, that's hard. When you're setting off with, 20, 30 other guys all into the same corner, you're proper scratching and really on the limit. So the TC is a bit different than that. You're on a limit, but it's a different kind of limit, and you're on your own for most of the time. You don't really see anybody. So it was a special thing for me to do the TT and win it. And then the lap record as well, which I stood for like a lot of years, was one of the things I'm probably most proud of in racing, really. So but it was a special place, yeah. Loved it.
Brilliant. I take it, obviously, like you say, it was your profession for quite a long time. Is that something you have to come to terms with? You mentioned your dad's had a few accidents at the Isle of Man. Is it just something you maybe have to make rest with, that there is a chance that you're going to come off the bike at some point?
Yeah, I think it never really entered my head at the TT. It's probably a good job it didn't do, really. Yeah, on short circuits, you're pushing out hard. You're going to crash a couple of times a year, Let me get this. Sorry, phone.
No,
somebody in the house. But no, it didn't really worry me, to be honest. And I don't think anybody who races bikes is going to worry about crashing or getting hurt, because if you did, then you wouldn't be doing it, to be fair. So not really. It didn't really enter my head.
Yeah, it's maybe just a paranormal kind of paranoid wreck that I am. I mean, I've been on a bike twice, I'll be honest with you, Carl, and I couldn't do it. I married into a family who are motorbike daft. My father-in-law, my brother-in-law, and my wife actually rode dirt bikes. I think my father-in-law's got an MT10 motorbike, I think it is.
I think that's a Honda, I'm sure it is, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you see, it's something that my wife and my brother-in-law were brought up with, so they've got a huge love for motorcycles. Like you said, you inherited it from your dad. You were actually honoured by the Queen, weren't you? You're actually an MBE, Carl. That must have been a huge honour to be honoured by the Queen.
MBE, motorcycling's best ever, apparently, it stands for.
Must have been a huge honour, mate. Do you remember that day?
Yeah, I do actually. It was a while ago now. It was about this time of the year, February. I'm sure it was about February time. And it was 1998, so it was quite a long while ago now. And it was a bit of a day out. Obviously, wife came down. We could only take so many people in. My dad came in with us. I think he took a few souvenirs from the toilets while he was in there, towels and whatnot.
As you do.
Yeah, my oldest daughter came down. She's only, I can't remember, she would have been about 4 or 5 at the time, maybe a bit older. But yeah, you don't expect those things. Really don't set out when you race bikes. You just want to win races and, be world champion. And it's all those things that come with you, you're not really prepared for, I guess. So yeah, I'm quite a shy person. I was, and back then, and we take me out my cup. Probably wasn't shy on the race circuit, a race meeting, that kind of thing. I wasn't far from it, but you take me out of my comfort zone. I was probably quite shy, really, doing something like that. But it was great. You got to meet the Queen and puts a medal on you and says, "Well done."
There we go. Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. You were obviously a member of the 2014 I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out Here. You went into the jungle with the likes of Melanie Sykes, there was Edwina Currie, Tinchy Strider, Jimmy Bullard, and you went on and won it. You're making a habit of winning things, aren't you, Carl?
I mean, I didn't expect that one at all, to be honest. I kind of expected to win because I had that much self-belief in my ability, but you go on that, I mean, it's probably is the biggest show on UK television, to be honest. And I don't know. But obviously you got to be yourself. You're never going to get, you can't do a show, an act through that kind of show without being yourself. And I just thought, well, people are going to love me or hate me, to be honest. I thought it'd be a hate me, to be fair. But yeah, God, where do you start with that one? It's just a roller coaster of emotions right through. Really, it was an incredible experience, unbelievable. I did get asked to do it probably about 15, 16 years ago now. Not long had the show been going, not long after I retired from racing. I didn't do it. I said no. I can't even remember why I said no. I was probably a bit nervous about it, a bit shy about going on, really. And so when they came back five years ago, whatever it was now, and said, "Do you want to do it?" And it was a big decision for me to say, "Yeah, it really, really was." It was instant, and it got me down to the ITV studios and met the guys who run the show and that, and sure everything to be, it'd be a great show and everything, it'd be great on it. And they even come up to my house trying to convince my wife that my wife's dead again. So, said, "No, you'll be, I know what you like. You'll kick off everybody will hate you." But anyway, so I said yes, and I hadn't really told her I'd said yes for a few months, and she found out. She wasn't too happy, to be honest. But when she found out that I said yes to the show, so she didn't speak to me for about 2 months, which was great.
How do the Bush Tucker trials compare to like taking corners like 100+ miles on a motorbike?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, you're out of your comfort zone. I just threw myself into it. I thought, you know what? I had a bit of a first day or two going, and I thought, what have you done? You didn't need to do this. You're not bothered about TV fame. You're not the celeb thing. It doesn't really interest me at all. But come on, get your head around. I can do this sort of thing. And luckily, I got a really good bunch in there. I got on really, really well. That was my biggest fear going in there was if you didn't get on well with the other guys, it's going to be a long and lonely place in there to survive for 2 or 3 weeks, But I love doing the challenges. That was the best thing because you got out of camp and you did something. And I knew I wouldn't be scared of anything. Only thing I was scared of was other people. If they wasn't very nice, then we'd have a problem. And it wasn't like that. But the bush tuckers and all them challenges, I love doing that. It wasn't too pleasant eating some of the stuff like a drinking.
Yeah.
The worst thing I ever had, deer's blood.
Oh my God.
Right.
Who were the characters that you built up relationships with in there?
I think Jimmy was probably the one. Football Jimmy Bullard. I got on really well with Jimmy. We just had a laugh, and he was so scared in there. He was scared of everything in there. Well, that was like I love stuff like that because I'm just frightening to death all the time. I get great amusement out of just scaring people and having a bit of banter and that. And yeah, everybody was good to get on with. Luckily, and that was when I've seen the show in the early years. You've seen it sometimes. I thought, oh, even the year after me. I watched a bit of it the year after. I haven't watched it for a couple of years, but I watched the year after because I had to go out and present the next winner. And I think the year after me had the woman in Lady C, is it? Lady C, I think. Yeah. Anything but a lady. I mean, if I'd have been in that year with her, the way she was, I think I'd have pushed her in the fire or something. Definitely. Not, she wasn't nice at all. Idiot.
Yeah, do you still keep in touch with any of the folk that were in the camp with you?
Not really, no. Everyone's kind of down London, really. I'm up here in sort of north of England, and you get a lot of texts and a bit of a phone call sometimes from Jimmy. There's probably only one, maybe I'll comment, maybe from Mel or some on Instagram or something. But no, I haven't seen anyone for a year because there's bloody lockdown.
Good point, mate.
But, no, not really, no. It'd be nice to catch up with some of them in London, a few beers and that, but I'm never really down there, to be fair. But if I am, I'll drop them a message probably.
I mean, obviously, you're retired now from the motorbike scene. Do you still go out and about on bikes, just maybe a bit slower now, or?
Yeah, I love riding bikes. I probably ride bikes more now for fun. And everything I was, a peak of my powers racing sort of thing. I'm involved with a small British motorcycle company called CCM Motorcycles. In fact, I have a bike with them. They have a Spitfire range. Of the Spitfire range, there's a Foggy bike as well, which I kind of designed myself, So there's a few of them still for sale, actually. If anybody's interested, have a look on the website, CCM Motorcycles. So yeah, I ride that in the summer. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't go out now in the middle of winter. I'm not that. I'm more of a fair weather rider these days. I like going out with the lads on the off-road bikes, but on the dirt bikes, motocross, enduro. So yeah, I just love riding bikes. In fact, we've got penciled in up your part of the world for this year. Once this bloody thing's sorted itself out of COVID, but in June, July time, hopefully we're going to do the NC 500, the North Coast 500.
Yep. Yeah, no, it will, mate. No, it will.
Inverness, right round and back to Inverness again, really. So we've penciled that in with the lads. About 6 or 7 of us are going to spend 4 or 5, 6 days doing that or something. We don't know yet, but anyway, looking forward to that. Hopefully, we get a bit of sunshine up there. We're picking the best one for the year. Get a bit of sunshine, you know what I mean, mate? Sunshine
in Scotland, what's that, mate?
I know. It's a bit like where I'm in Blackburn. We do get generally like 1 week of summer a year, so hopefully with the week we pick it up to Scotland.
Have you done much riding up this neck of the woods at all?
None at all. I'm just usually, if I ride a bike, it's from my home, just around. Live in a really beautiful area for roads, or bike roads, really. The Ribble Valley area is really nice for that. And then you've got the Trough of Bowland and Rivington, there's good rides up there. Obviously, the coast is only, 25 minutes from where I live anyway, to Lytham, something like that, 30 minutes. We'll go over there somewhere, have fish and chips or something on the seafront and have a wobble back, But no, so I've never ridden up Scotland. In fact, I'm not even riding up there, to be fair. There's no way I'm riding that far up there. I'm going to put the bike in the back of the van, leave it in Inverness somewhere, then get the bike out and go around. It's enough for me, mate. I just riding all the way up there as well, which is probably about 500 miles. I'm not interested in that on the motorway as well. No, it's not.
No, it's beautiful up there, mate. Hopefully you get the weather, you'll enjoy that. What are you riding at the moment, if you don't mind me asking? What is your bike of choice?
I've just got like I said, the CCMs. Is obviously for them, massive for them. I'm just riding the foggy version of that bike, really. The S version, I've got that here. Off-road bikes, I've just got a new bike coming soon. I've gone back to get a 2-stroke, which is something I've not had for a while. Gas 250 enduro bike. I've got one of those for the off-road stuff. Yeah, so mainly off-road is kind of what I enjoy doing. And like I say, in the summer months, just get out with the lads now and again on the road bike, on the CCM.
Perfect. You've got a watch coming out, mate. It's something I want to talk about. I've had a look at these. I've had a look at the company called Forza that you've designed the watch with. You mentioned you've designed like a motorbike in the past as well. How was that designing your own brand of watches?
It wasn't too bad, really, because I know what I like in a watch. Look at what I've got on now and the ones I've got. They're kind of similar, really, like a stainless strap, stainless face. We just put the little foggy touches in there, gone for obviously red face with reference to me racing, the Ducati and things like that, and the foggy logo and the signature and the limited number. They've gone down really well so far. It's been launched on the Kickstarter thing, which I don't know much about that, but there's been a lot of interest. We kept the number down to 123, I think it is. Wanted to come with a number that meant something to me, but not too big a number, like 4,000 or something. So 123 of these watches, different variations of them. That's kind of it's in reference to my record that's at the Alaman TT some years ago, which stood for quite a while. So that was it's a special place for me, the TT, and just to have the watch be linked to that is something I wanted to do. But it's gone down really well, really. So we don't have too many of them, and they're just a really cool watch.
So are these going to be like quite a collector's item? Like you said, there's not going to be a lot of them available.
Yeah, that's If you get one of these things, then they're not going to. Shouldn't go down in value. They're only going to go one way, really, because there's not many of them about. And that was the whole point of doing it. I didn't want to do it and just dilute it by doing loads and loads. They want to keep the number to a small number. So the low, if you get one of these things, the lowest hold the value or up in value should do anyway.
Yeah, I mean, but we've touched on a couple of times, obviously, the current climate that we're going through here in the UK, obviously with COVID. How have you been finding that all, Carl?
To be honest with you, it didn't bother me at all last year. It's funny, once he announced it last year, back end of March it was, the sun came out and never went back in for like 6 weeks. It was incredible. The weather was unbelievable. So a bit of a novelty, I guess, as well. And I was cutting back on a lot of stuff I was doing last year anyway. So spent more time at home. I was almost enjoying it in a way. I really was, I've got to be honest with you. But this time, this really got to me because it's middle of winter. I hate January anyway. I hate it with a passion. I usually get out of the way in January, go away for 10 days somewhere nice and warm, and not being able to do that. And then you've got the COVID on top of it. The weather's been so cold and miserable. Quite nice today, but it's been awful, really. So it's tested me, I'll be honest with you. I mean, people think, it won't bother you, but, I feel for a lot of people. I really, really mean that. Because the first 2 weeks, I think, of January, just after the Christmas and New Year, it kind of hit me then. I thought, come on, I have to have a bit of a word with myself and, trying to motivate myself to just do stuff around the house and outside and get out on your pushback, go for a walk, take the dogs down the river and stuff like that. You know, it was hard, but I feel all right now. I feel better. We're into February now. You know, you can see. I feel like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit. Obviously, with summer coming, the clock's going forward at the end of March. It's not too far away, so I feel all right. I'm all right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think what you said there, I think a lot of people can maybe resonate with that. Obviously, second time round, it's a lot harder, definitely. First time it was maybe looked at as, oh, well, we get to stay at home, we get to maybe just enjoy a bit of quiet time, and then, but like you say, it's that novelty's wore off now, mate. One thing I want to ask you, obviously, you were riding bikes from 1988 right through to 2000 as a professional level constantly. See, when you're doing that as a living for your job, do you find then you don't really want to go out at the weekend and ride your bike, like just as a leisure sort of thing? Do you know, it's like, I mean, I talk to people like this doing interviews. The last thing I want to do is go home and just have like a full-blown hour conversation with the missus, for example. Is that the case, or was your love for bikes so much that you were quite happy to do that, or...?
Yeah, it's like I said before, I ride bikes more now than I've ever done. When I was racing and winning races, world championships, whatever, the last thing I wanted to do was ride a bike on the road. I just never did it. And you find, even now, guys who race for a living professionally, they just don't really ride bikes on the road. And when I did, it was always like I was always so scared and so nervous, you know, because my mates who ride bikes on the road, that if I ever went out with them, they'd leave me behind. You know what I mean? I won't be able to keep up with them. I'd be nervous as the bus coming to the way, the roundabout. There might be some diesel down here. I've not had a tire warmers on that. My brain wouldn't take in what was going on around me, because normally on the racetrack there's nothing else there, you know, and I've got the best of everything set up wise. But no, I never really rode bikes on the road all the years I was racing. You know, I didn't even pass my test till I was 28. I know, it's amazing. I was leading the World Championships in Superbike in 1993. And I kept getting asked to do stuff. I think it was something with the mayor of Newcastle, I think it was, wanted to do a ride with him. I says, well, I haven't got a license. And everyone found it hilarious, to be honest. And it wasn't, even Ducati didn't know I hadn't got a license. I said, look, we need to sort this out. I said, all right, I'll just sort it out. So I remember doing it in Blackburn. I was taking my test and quite a few press turned up. I think hoping I was going to fail, to be honest, because that would have made quite a good story that the guy's leading the World Championships. He failed his bike test, you know. But so I got that taken eventually, but no, I didn't really ride bikes on the road much at all when I was racing. Like I said, I do a lot more now.
Yeah. So see, when you're doing that at a professional level, do you build up like a bit of a camaraderie with opposition riders as well, and obviously your teammates in the same squad as yourself? Do you build up that camaraderie, or is it real quite competitive sort of hatred, if you like?
Yeah, that's funny, because that's probably the worst in the world. But you know, I hate everybody. It just seemed that way anyway. I don't know if I meant it or not, but it's a very selfish sport, really. You're on your own, and I don't want to get that friendly with people anyway. If someone's getting close to me, I'd have something to say about it. You know what I mean? No, it was the rivalry in my era was really tense. It really was. It was some big characters who weren't afraid to say what was on their mind. They didn't really like each other, to be honest. And that was probably the worst about a lot of saying stuff. Really, I look back now and you get reminded of stuff you say because it's all on YouTube and whatever, it's social media, you know, it's there. And I'm thinking, oh, God, why did you say that? Just shut up. Why don't you keep your mouth shut? Just ride the bike instead of putting so much pressure on yourself, saying, I'm this, I'm that, I'm going to do this. I'm like, no, just shut up. I think if I had my time again, I wouldn't say half the stuff I said before. I keep your mouth shut and just do my talking on track. But no, we didn't really get on with I didn't get on with anybody, to be honest. I mean, yeah, maybe one or two. My good mate was, you know, from the other side of the hill over here now in Huddersfield. Jamie Whittam was a good mate of mine. But that wasn't many, really. I must admit, I was probably the only one. He was probably the only one that would tolerate me, to be fair.
I imagine, obviously, a key point in that job is the high adrenaline rush that you must take from it. Is that something that you miss looking back on now? Was that one of the big things, racing around the circuit at the speeds that you were getting up to?
You know what? People ask me that a lot, and what you replace it with now, it's never really bothered me that, really. Honestly, I just wanted to win races. You know, I'm not even sure I even enjoyed doing what I was doing at the time. I didn't, you know, I just wanted to win so much. Maybe I didn't really enjoy it, really. So to replace it, I didn't need to replace it. I was glad it was gone, you know, once I'd retired. I didn't need to go fast down the straight at nearly 200 miles an hour. It didn't bother me. I'd be happy to go off sea fishing with my mates or something. You know, I'm not bothered. I don't crave speed. I just wanted to. I knew I was good at racing motorbikes. I just wanted to win. And that was it. And once I had gone and once I retired, I was happy not to have to do that again. And in some ways, and push, have that pressure. I missed it, obviously, the racing and winning races, but I didn't miss everything else that went with it. I didn't need to replace it by going out on a road bike and doing 140 mile an hour down the motorway or something. Not that I would recommend doing it. It didn't bother me. I could just chill out and forget about it. Yeah, I didn't need the adrenaline like people thought I did.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier in the chat that you still ride the CCM motorcycles, the Foggy edition. Can any Joe public pick up one of these, or do you have to obviously pre-book them? Or
no, you can just online these days, can't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you're buying the CCM, you can buy it direct. You buy it direct from the factory, which is a really good thing as well. Because if you want something changing, you want different color, different wheels on the bike, then they'll build it for you. That's the beauty about you're cutting that middleman, which is the dealer, out. Really, you're dealing direct with the factory just near Bolton, and the bikes are available to buy. Like I said, there's about 6 or 7 different variations of the Spitfire model range that they have, and good fun little bikes to ride around country roads, around town. They're great to ride for that kind of thing, really.
And then how much actual input did you have on it? Did you have a lot to do with the design of these bikes?
I did with mine, yeah. I just took the original Spitfire, which came out about 5 years ago, and just took that and put my own stamp on it. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I need to make it like a bike that everybody associates me with from the 90s. That was the Ducati 916. So I took little references from that bike and just copied it, really, and made it more of a little racing bike. Obviously the color. The Foggy logos, the exhaust coming out the back like on the 916, and so we did 2 variations of that. One more of a racer style one, then more of a what we call a flat track version, a bit more sat upright, different sort of riding position, different bars, different and bigger wheels. So, but yeah, quite a bit to do with it when we went through it all about 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Really.
Right. And what about your big famous Harley Davidson bikes? Is that anything that you enjoy riding? Any of those sort of cruiser bikes? No, that not your cup of tea.
Not the bikes, mate. No, we don't do Harleys. No.
I thought I'd ask the question, mate, just to see if you.
Not for me, that. Oh, not at all. No, they're big, vibrating things. If you want all your fillings shaken out, just borrow one for a day. Just shake all your fillings out for you.
So back to the watch. It's available online at the moment, the 123 Forza edition of Foggy. If you want to find out more, you can go to www.kickstarter.com. You can have a look at the available watches. You say there was different variations. There's more than just one, isn't there?
Yeah, just different faces, really, like a red face, white. I think there's a carbon one and a black one as well. So the red one's gone down well, which I thought it would do, to be fair. But yeah, all there.
Perfect. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Carl Fogarty.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. Cheers.